7:15. The date is August 3rd, 2026. Before we get to our council meeting, we do have a public hearing for ordinance 2026-22, the mobile food units or food trucks. I will now call that meeting to order. We have one person that signed up to speak. I think it's Mr. Anthony DeGangi. Are you here, sir? All right, if you'd like, come on up. Could you just state your name and address for the record, please?
It's Anthony DeGangi, 708 South Main Street. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try and keep this brief because I feel like I'll be repeating myself from last meeting. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. I know you will eventually have to make a decision or make some changes to Ordinance 2026-22 in regards to mobile food trucks, and I appreciate the opportunity to provide feedback. My biggest concern remains the grandfathering language. I believe it should clearly protect any existing approved semi-permanent mobile food unit as approved by Carroll County. The ordinance should make it clear that an existing lawful operation does not lose the grandfathered status because of routine business changes such as replacing a trailer, upgrading equipment, changing ownership, or making improvements. I also believe the ordinance should contain clear, objective standards. Businesses should know exactly what is required, and decisions should be based on objective health, safety, traffic, and land use rather than broad discretion. Finally, I continue to ask the same question I asked last time I spoke. What problem are we really trying to solve here? If there are documented health, safety, traffic, or nuisance issues related to mobile food units, I would respectfully ask that those complaints be shared with the council and the public so everyone understands the need for this ordinance. If there are documented complaints received by the town, let's review them. If there have been documented public safety incidents, let's review those as well. I'd also like to make one observation. If this ordinance is addressing a significant problem in our town, I would expect to hear from residents and businesses who are experiencing that problem. At the last council meeting, I was the only person who spoke on this ordinance. Tonight, I'm the only person here asking for additional anyone here? I don't see anyone else here. I mean, we have 10,000 residents, I believe, in town, and the only person that has brought up the food trucks as an issue was at a planning commission meeting last April, a day after I brought my food truck to town. So if we had a big issue, I know all these people aren't here for the food trucks, and I'm taking up their time because I know they have more issues. I just don't see evidence of a problem. If they exist, we should absolutely address any issues and do it in a way that is fair for everyone. I just encourage the council to be careful not to create regulations for a problem that has not been demonstrated. That's all I have. I appreciate your time. I really appreciate you guys listening to me. And I hope this will be the last time I have to talk about an ordinance about food trucks. So thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Gentman?
Council President, Council Mayor, first, my apologies for not signing up. I'm new to Town Hall.
Just tilt the mic.
So are we.
Yeah. First, I'd like to say I always like to regard any effort to redraw or to make amendments to our code. I always like to assume noble intent, that there's a reason behind it that improves the town's safety in any way possible. So I don't really see a problem. I really regard this effort as being proactive by the town leadership to get ahead of a potential problem. And so I do align with the previous speaker in that perhaps revisions to the existing code draft could focus on reassurance, as the role is of the town, of safety for food service and safety physically, whether that's traffic or the actual operation in a public space, generators, seating, etc. And so I think those two areas, food safety, which I think in large part is already handled by county regulations, county permitted, inspections of the truck layout, et cetera, but perhaps some code that says we have to verify that before you can set up and operate is totally reasonable. Again, it's being proactive for assurance of our public safety and food service here in the town. And similar comments with regard to noble intent and being proactive to head off any physical safety violations or potential problems, like I mentioned, parking location, operation of the actual truck, or those sorts of things. So I would say stay the course. that I regard your effort as noble, that I think you're doing your proper role to assure safety of the town in that area. And it's not perfect, but remember, perfect is the enemy of good enough. And so it is a new area. You can embark on it, and then you can adjust as issues arise or feedback is given to you. But I would urge you to stay the course, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? All right, hearing none, we will now go ahead and close this public hearing for ordinance 2026-22, and our regularly scheduled town council meeting will start in about 10 minutes. Thank you. The time is 7:30. I will now call this town council meeting for the town of Mount Airy to order. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. First and foremost, Councilmember Munder had to actually just leave. He has a family emergency, so he will not be here this evening, but we wish him the best. We will now move on to a quick presentation. So while there's nothing on the agenda, we do have the Boy Scout troops here for a special recognition of our mayor, Mayor Larry Hushauer. So if they would like to come up to the podium, that would be great.
Good evening. My name is Bill Kinane. I am the Carroll District Chair for Scouting America and also the Scoutmaster for Troop 829. People often say it takes a village to raise a child. In Scouting, we know that to be true. Our Scouts are supported by dedicated parents and exceptional volunteers, and they also grow stronger in a community whose leaders understand the importance of investing in young people. Tonight, I have the privilege of speaking on behalf of the Scouts and Scouters of Mount Airy, from PAC 460, Troop 460, Troop 829, PAC 1191, Troop 1191B, Troop 1191G, and Crew 1191. Mayor Larry Hushauer has never simply been the mayor of Mount Airy. He has been a friend to Scouting. Throughout his time in office, Mayor Hushauer has consistently welcomed Scouts into Town Hall, participated in our ceremonies, recognized the accomplishment of our youth, supported community service, conservation efforts, and Eagle Scout projects, and helped ensure that Scouting remained an important part of the fabric of Mount Airy. Whether attending events, issuing proclamations, or simply taking the time to encourage a young Scout, he has demonstrated that today's youth are tomorrow's leaders. The impact of that support reaches far beyond a single troop or pack. Together, the Scouting units represented here have helped hundreds of young people develop character, citizenship, leadership, and a lifelong commitment to service. Having a mayor who values those ideals has made our community stronger. Mayor Hushauer recently announced that he will be stepping away from public office to spend more time with his growing family, a decision that speaks to the same values of family and service that Scouting strives to teach every young person. Mayor Hushauer, on behalf of the Scouts, leaders, parents, and alumni of all of the Mount Airy units, thank you for your unwavering support of Scouting, your dedication to public service, your commitment to conservation, and your many years of leadership to the town of Mount Airy. It is our honor to present you with the Certificate of Appreciation as a small token of our gratitude. While this certificate may hang on a wall, we hope it also serves as a reminder that generations of Scouts and the adults they become will remember your kindness, encouragement, an example of servant leadership. Mayor Larry Hushhour, thank you. Congratulations on your retirement, and may God bless you, Mary, your family, and the town of Mount Airy.
Really appreciate it. I'm the one who's supposed to be giving out the proclamations. So, scouting has been, part of my life the entire 62 years that I've been on Earth. And I will tell you this, my grandbaby's 6 months old. He's on about a 14-and-a-half-year Philmont plan. And I'm going to stay as healthy as I can so I can drag his butt up Baldy Mountain and go up there and stand where my brother and my dad and I have stood before. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was not expected.
All right, we're now going to move on to public comment. First, I'm going to get Mr. Bruce Walls up, please, to make a special announcement so we can get this process going as quickly as possible.
The Board of Supervisors of Election has called a special election to fill the office of mayor, which will be vacant as of September 1, 2026.
Bruce, can you spin the mic towards you? Thank you.
Which will be vacant as of September 1st, 2026. Town code requires the election to be held between 60 and 90 days of the vacancy. Nominations cannot occur within 2 weeks of the vacancy. The following dates have been set by the board for the special election. September 15th, first nominating meeting, 7 p.m., Town Hall. September 22nd, second nominating meeting, 7 p.m., Town Hall. October 13th, last day to register to vote, and that is registrations through the state of Maryland, and that is their deadline because there is a gubernatorial election which impacts their closing of the poll books. November 17th will be the special election from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the American Legion on Prospect Road. Please note the change in location due to availability of the MAVFC reception hall. Information about availability of absentee ballots will be announced at a later date. Qualifications for mayor: 2 years resident of town prior to nomination, registered town voter, at least 25 years of age. Successful candidate will serve out the remainder of the current mayor's term. Thank you, and I encourage everyone to come out and vote.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Marks.
I'll be really fast on this because I know there are 10 people here, 10 million people here. Josh Marks, civic activist tonight, sometimes veteran advocate, 1211 Conestoga Court, Mount Airy, Maryland. We are now an official 501c3 entitled Community Foundation of Carroll County Air Siren Project. If anybody wants to make a copy of the paperwork to make a donation, you can reach out to me at hunter10611@gmail.com. We got into this initiative, and I'm told that there are other municipalities that may be looking at this. And if they are looking for someone to consult with, I'm retired. I don't charge any money. I'd be happy to offer consultation. This is all about service before self, just as I wear my veterans advocacy hat when I lobby for our veterans. And I thank you for letting me speak, guys. And thank you guys for supporting the project. It's important.
Thank you. All right, we're still on public comment, and just as a quick, just kind of survey, how many people here wish to speak tonight? Okay. I'm going to be very, very, very blunt. 1 minute. Minute 30. All right, so there's been a lot of, a lot of different conversations, stuff like that, so we just have to make sure that we have enough time to get the decision, so we're not here till the wee hours of the night. So I think a minute 30, and we'll go from there. All right, first up, if you can, when you come up, please just state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Tim Park, 12280 Howard Lodge Drive. Mr. Mayor, Town Council President Washaball, members of the Town Council, and town staff. On behalf of Brian and myself, we want to thank you for the past year. We have never been through a process like this, and we appreciate the opportunity allotted to share our vision. We recognize the amount of time our application has occupied on meeting agendas and in public comment, and are grateful for the examination it received. We were especially impressed by the dedication of the town staff to this community. We want to thank them for their professionalism, their fairness, and their commitment to gathering as much information as possible so they could make informed recommendations. Finally, we want to thank the Planning Commission and each member of the Town Council for their time, effort, and thoughtful consideration given to this application. Whatever tonight's outcome, we are grateful to have had the opportunity to participate in this process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian McKenna, 723 Woodbine Crossing Road, Mount Airy. Mr. Mayor and Town Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Promise this will be brief. Just want to say, if you give us the opportunity to be annexed, we look forward to working with the town on making this project something special. We understand that there will be expectations and standards that must be met for this project to move forward, and we are confident that we can meet those. We're just asking for the chance to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Bowersox. I happen to be counsel for Elite, the petitioner here. Tonight is about annexation. Do you want to bring this property within the corporate limits and thereafter control its development destiny? So, as you mentioned in your resolution, it meets the elements required. The uses permitted in R40 from the county to R1 in the town are consistent with one another. The uses are not substantially different. There is no request or need for the county commissioners to grant a 5-year waiver or consent to having the zoning imposed for this property upon annexation. It's consistent with a land use designation in your master plan. It's in the town's future annexation area. If the town decides to move forward, we want you to know that there has been a whole lot of discussion about development-related conditions and impacts. Those are legitimate issues. This is not the time to make certain definite requirements. We're not negotiating a development rights and responsibilities agreement at all at this point. If the town decides to move forward and annex, they should feel confident in my clients who have shown throughout this process that they're upfront and transparent and will continue
That's a minute 30.
to do so.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to come up?
Good evening. My name is Tina Stolman. I live at 1302 Crossbow Road, Mount Airy, Maryland.
Tina, if you can just tilt the mic towards you.
Sure.
There you go.
Better?
It's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So we're not asking for promises, we're just asking for answers. Before annexing 51 acres, the residents of Mount Airy deserve complete answers, not promises that those answers will come later. Is it 1,135 parking spaces or is it 500 parking spaces? Where's the independent traffic study? Where's the economic impact study? Who pays for future road improvements? Who pays for the increased demands on the police EMS infrastructure? And what is the financial benefit for Mount Airy after accounting for these costs? I've also heard the argument if the annexation's denied, something worse could happen. Respectfully, I don't believe fear should drive this decision. If this proposal is truly the right fit for Mount Airy, it should stand on its own merits, not on the fear that something else may happen otherwise. A no vote tonight does not stop future development. It simply leaves a property under Carroll County's review process. Excuse me. You were elected to represent the residents of Mount Airy, not a private developer, not a travel baseball organization, and not tournament visitors. I respectfully ask to represent the people who live here, put the residents first, and vote no on the annexation.
Thank you. Next up. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Holly Douglas. I'm at 1209 Crossbow Road in Mount Airy, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything that Tina just said. My husband and I have lived in the Nottingham neighborhood since 2010, and we are opposed to a sports complex being built on the Warfield property. We would, however, consider an alternative development of the property, such as a neighborhood. But specifically, we are here tonight to oppose the annexation of the Warfield property into the town's boundaries. It's obvious that Nottingham will be negatively impacted by the noise and light pollution of having a large sports complex so close to our neighborhood. However, an even broader negative impact of having this sports complex would be the increased traffic congestion to our already strained infrastructure. This predictable increased traffic congestion will affect an even larger number of Mount Airy residents outside of our development. We simply do not believe that Mount Airy has the current infrastructure to support such a massive sports complex. If there are 1,000 parking spaces, Watersville Road itself is way too narrow to park on the side of, but it is predictable that visitors will end up doing this simply because they cannot find parking in the sports complex. This would create extreme dangerous conditions on Watersville Road. Or they will park in our neighborhood, taking up our own parking spaces, which are already limited. Finally, the traffic at Watersville Road and 27 is often congested, making it nearly impossible to make a left-hand turn onto 27. The addition of the sports complex will make it extremely difficult to navigate through our small town. Most residents of our small town of Mount Airy will undoubtedly experience the negative impact of increased traffic congestion and demands associated with this proposed sports complex. We do not believe the sports complex will benefit the town of Mount Airy in any way. Therefore, we are vehemently opposed to the annexation of the Warfield property. Thank you for your time and your dedication to the town of Mount Airy.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir. And just so you're aware, I'm not going to start the clock until you say your name and address and all that stuff, so.
Thanks, I have a lot to say, but I'll make it short as quick and
Thank you.
concise as I can. Dwayne Cordery, Kings Horse Trail, town resident. Good evening. Last Monday, July 27th, I emailed each of you a video I recorded at Patriots Park North, further references PPN on Friday, July 17th, around 2:15. 3 of the 5 council members responded to confirm receipt and viewed the video in its entirety. As stated previously, I have more than 50 years' experience in baseball and currently a professionally trained and certified baseball umpire. I want to provide background and context to the video I sent and share recent personal experience and observations with you from PPN. I want to emphasize that my experiences and observations are not opinions. The video documented the 467 space parking lot and road traffic gridlock with vehicles entering and leaving PPN. Gridlock in the parking lot and feeder roads into the proposed sports complex is what the petitioners desire. Cars equal people, equals cash, equals privately owned business profit. Compare the compelling video I sent to you, which has 6 baseball and softball fields, 2 concession stand buildings, and the parking spaces with the proposed plan for 6 more baseball, softball fields, along with
basketball, pickleball courts, multi-use lacrosse fields, et cetera, and a nearly 500-space parking lot at the proposed annex property. I annexed 2 weekends in July, Thursday through Sunday, the 9th through the 12th, and also Thursday, the 16th through the 19th. All 6 fields were being used, and games started at 8 a.m. each day, with some games ending around 10:45, except on Championship Sunday. Each day during the weekend, I entered the park at 6:30 a.m. to prepare for my 8 a.m. games. By that time, 2/3 of the parking lot was full. By 7:45, as I was walking up to the field, the park was full and cars were parked along the feeder road. Another observation in the parking lot, that there were tow-behind campers and team trailers, as well as large RVs with running generators hooked up and parked horizontally across 3 to 4 parking spaces. There were 2 teams from out of state that traveled in charter buses, which didn't use parking spots, but instead parked in fire lanes, with further obstructed traffic in the parking lot. Petitioners intend to invite food trucks to the complex, all but one would be from out of town, in a measure to minimize traffic congestion. Not only were charter buses blocking fire lanes and traffic at PPN, there were between 1 and 4 at any given time parked in the fire lanes, obstructing and causing a traffic bottleneck. Inviting food trucks from out of town further illustrates that Mount Airy businesses will have minimal positive impact to their financial statements. Additionally, petitioners stated their intention to stagger game start times to minimize traffic impact in and around the county, or in and around the complex. Allow me to remind town council, my fellow citizens, and the petitioners that baseball is one of the few sports that's played without a game clock. A complete game can conclude within an hour or more than 3 hours, depending on mercy rules and or new inning or drop dead time guidelines. When games end early, most teams want to start the next game earlier to complete before the lights out to finish the day. Furthermore, teams show up anywhere from 1.5 to 45 minutes before their start game for cage batting practice, so a staggered start time isn't going to ease traffic congestion. And once the team's games are done for the day, local participants go home, out-of-towners head to a hotel, and for the proposed annex property, they most likely will go to Frederick and take their money with them. The Planning Commission unanimously opposed annexation, and more than 90% of Mount Airy residents have strongly mandated during public comments to each of you as elected officials to vote no on the annexation of the Warfield property into the town of Mount Airy. I will wrap up my comments by stating that any vote from a town council member for annexation is a vote from your constituents for your opponent should you decide to run for town mayor or for another term as a Mount Airy town council member. Please vote no to the annex of the Warfield property town limits. Thank you for your attention and allowing me to speak this evening.
Thanks for talking fast. I let you go long because I want to see how long you can do that. It was more of a test than it was anything.
A tough act to follow. Okay. Jennifer Block, 1212 Crossbow Row. I've been a resident of Nottingham since 1996. I'm a second generation. My position is simple. This is not about whether a sports complex is a good idea. It's about whether the location is a right location right now. The Planning Commission has already expressed what many residents have been saying for months, that acknowledging a sports complex could be a good project, but they also concluded this location is not ready. We do not have the road infrastructure. We do not have the accommodations that a destination facility this size would require. Those are my planning concerns, not emotional ones. Traffic is a big concern. Congestion won't stop at Ridge Road and West Watersville. When major intersections become backed up, people naturally look for alternative routes. This means traffic in our neighborhood roads that are narrow, winding, not designed for tournament traffic. If this facility succeeds the way that they need it to succeed, those impacts won't be for a few weekends a year. They'll become part of our daily life. And that leads to a bigger question. What kind of town do we want to have? Many chose Mount Airy because it still feels like a small town. We value being able to get across town without sitting in traffic every weekend. We value neighborhoods where families can walk, local roads that serve residents instead of regional traffic, and downtown that hasn't been overwhelmed by congestion. Growth will come. Most of us accept that, but growth should fit community, not force community to be something it was never intended to be. I was also concerned about comments suggesting that if this proposal isn't approved, something worse can happen. Respectfully, that's not how decisions of importance should be made. Residents should never feel pressured to approve a project because they're afraid of unsuspecting alternatives. Every proposal should stand on its own merits, and every application deserves the same careful review. This isn't a vote against recreational economic development. It's a vote for responsible planning. If a sports complex is the right project, then let's find the right location, one that can support without fundamentally changing the characters of the town we all love. Please listen to your planning commission, listen to the residents who live here every day. For me, this message is simple. It's not location, not right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Michael Rash, 2508 Kings Forest Trail. Thanks for the opportunity to address the council. Video evidence has been sent to all town council members, as Dwayne mentioned just a minute ago, that shows what some of the traffic looks like at Patriot Park North in Fairfax during a major tournament. This type of evidence is easy to come by and proves our concerns about traffic. Elite Baseball has highlighted Patriot Park North as a so-called comparable facility to what they want to build here, except that, of course, in terms of road infrastructure and other measures, it's not comparable at all. Patriot Park North is right off of Braddock Road, which is a divided highway with 2 lanes in each direction. It has turn signals, turn lanes into Willow Springs Road and on into Patriot Park North. And yet even that facility, as the video evidence shows, has issues with traffic. Here, Watersville Road is a small country 2-lane road. There are no turn signals, no crosswalks, no turn lanes. There aren't even any shoulders. And yet Elite Baseball wants to build an even bigger sports facility with a parking lot at least the size of the Walmart complex here in Mount Airy. For Elite to be profitable, they would have to keep those fields packed. They would have every incentive to make traffic as bad as possible. And if the town approves it, what leverage would the town have in the future to rein them in? Not much, except for one thing, your vote tonight. To the Mount Airy Town Council, I want to turn this into a positive. Please look to the future. If you vote this down tonight, Elite's options close. Going through the county is a very bad option for them. The Carroll County Planning and Zoning Commission has made it clear on the June 16th meeting that they don't agree with the land use as proposed by Elite. Any proposal that they would be able to get approved by the county would essentially not support their own business model after they have to pay for the land and the cost to develop it. To the Warfields, you could likely get a much better deal from a home builder. For sake of argument, 25 homes on 2-acre lots, not to overburden Mount Airy's water situation, would save $25 million in home equity. Many of us would support the annexation of your property into the town for this purpose. To the council, with new homes on that property, you would then have new town residents who move here for the same reasons we all moved here. You would then have more people who care about our wonderful town. That sounds like a win-win to me. Please look to the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Polson, 3850 West Watersville Road. We are not town residents, but we happen to live right next to this place. So we've been dealing with this for about a year now. We've been coming to meetings and going through the planning zoning process and going through the town council. We've had public comment at the planning zoning, and after all the public comment and everything they go through, there was not one member of the planning and zoning that voted to have this sports complex built. They voted unanimously to vote against the annexation. Carroll County Planning and Zoning recommends that not to have a sports complex. They are okay with the annexation to the town, but not for the purpose of a sports complex. We had 2.5 hours of public comment, and not one person from the town, a town resident, came up and said that they were for the annexation. There were 3 folks that came that were coaches from other areas, Alney, from Ligonor, and wherever. It's not one person from the town of Mount Airy has wanted this complex to be built. The project coming in for the town, what does the town expect to get out of it? I say that the town's just going to spend money, and that's it. There's nothing that the town is going to get out of this complex being built. Don't let the Elite Baseball owners build their field of dreams, because of the residents of Mount Airy and the Nottingham, this is going to be their field of nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Ginger Fitzpatrick. I live at 603 Arrowwood Circle in Mount Airy, and I am a 5-second walk away from this facility. And I am not going to waste time going over all of the reasons that everyone's already gone through because we've heard them over and over and over again. So basically what I'm going to say is after listening to all of the comments shared at multiple town council meetings, after reading comments that have been posted online over the past few months, and after reading emails that have been uploaded to the town website, it is blatantly obvious that most people do not want this property to be annexed. So, town council members, when you vote on the annexation of this property, please remember that you represent the interests of your constituents, not the interests of the owners of a business that will completely upend and wreak havoc on our lives. They are outsiders who do not vote for you. We voted for you, and we trusted you to represent our interests. You have a duty and a responsibility to represent us. So please vote no on this annexation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, council members, mayor, my name is Ralph Ginn. I'm a town resident located at Kings Forest Trail. I first want to start with a positive, and that is I commend all the council members here in reflection on your deliberation on previous developments, in the sense that whether it was the Beck development or whether it was Green Tree, I consistently heard from each of you the question as to whether the proposed development was in harmony. So I would like to leverage that word tonight in this consideration in 3 areas. Is this proposed development in harmony with the hospitality requirements in order to have a successful tournament operation with away teams? The short answer is no. We simply don't have the capacity of the hospitality. The businesses that are in Frederick or elsewhere will benefit by those away teams. Second harmony, is the road capacity and road structure in harmony with the proposal for the number of cars, parking lots, and visitors? The answer is no. It is not there. And as you know, we've been trying with the county and the state for well over 2 years to get funding in order to widen the Maryland 27 corridor, to address the intersections such as Watersville. We're only going to be exacerbating an issue we already recognize if this goes forward. The third harmony, and perhaps the most important, is this proposal in harmony with 420 homes that are directly across the street from this 60-acre business? You've heard about noise pollution, light pollution, legitimate concerns. So I would just say, reflect upon this in an easy way, a way consistent with how you've evaluated developments before this. Is it in harmony? I would offer to you that it is not. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Good evening. Lisa Ray, 301 Longbow Road in Nottingham. And I'm in agreement completely with the ladies from Crossbow. I can't really add much to that. They said it as well as possible. I moved up here recently for the small town feel. I moved from the Eastern Shore where there is so much traffic and so much congestion. I was over it. I moved up here into a neighborhood where now we're going to possibly have that same traffic and congestion, which would really make me unhappy. I also moved up here to be near family, who's also here with me tonight. And I have concerns regarding the traffic, emergency services getting to us, which was part of the issue we had on the Eastern Shore. We were so blocked in, we could not get emergency services on weekends. It was horrible. And the loss of the small town life here that I moved up here for. So I really urge you to consider not supporting this annexation. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Lisa Shekels. I'm at 3706 West Watersville Road. I'm not a town resident, but my property is right adjacent to where, or next to where they're planning to put the sports complex. I am very much opposed to this annexation for the sports complex. I do agree that we do need more baseball fields, soccer fields, and others, but this is not the place or the location for this property in this building of a profit building sports complex. Our West Watersville Road does not have the ability to have a 500-plus parking space. We already have issues with traffic, and we will continue to have issues with traffic. As an example, at our last meeting, there was an accident on 70. Everybody, including tractor trailers, veered off, and they used West Watersville Road. Traffic was backed up to the beginning of Nottingham, and that was at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, because I got a text message. We do not have the ability to even widen the road, because then you're taking people's property, if they even have property, because houses are very close onto 27. I also do not see how it is being petitioned where it's going to benefit some of the businesses in town. As I've been to tournaments with my niece, we don't go into breweries, we don't go to, food trucks. We're not going to go to a barber shop or to a flower bouquet. We don't have time to leave the complex because your next game, as in said previously, will start possibly earlier. So you don't have time to leave that field. We also don't have the hotels, the accommodations to support these people from coming out of town and out of state. I am totally opposed to the annexation of this for-profit sports complex.
Good evening. My name is Ted Nettles. I don't live in the town of Mount Airy. I live at 2411 Flag Marsh Road. The problem I see with this, number one, I don't see what Mount Airy is getting out of it. I don't see the traffic is absolutely atrocious there. Just the other day when they had 70 shut down, the tractor and trailer stuff were coming off down 94 up Watersville and out to there. The traffic was backed on the Watersville Road past Nottingham. You had them down, they were trying to go through Trent Arch Road. It's the traffic. And we need the facilities, but that's not the place for this. Thank you very much for the time. I hope you vote against it. I don't want it. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and my fellow Mount Airy residents. My name is Nicholas H. I live over on Longbow Road. Throughout my career in public service, I have learned one lesson. Wise leaders strengthen the foundation before building another floor. I believe communities should not grow simply because they can. They should grow because they are ready. Expansion should never come at the expense of our foundation. Tonight, I am asking the council to uphold the town's own comprehensive master plan, which calls for the orderly growth, protection of the quality of life, protection of groundwater, and adequate public facilities before long-term growth. Before we discuss annexation or economics, I respectfully ask, what problem are we trying to solve for the people of Mount Airy? Has this proposal truly met the standards our town has already established? For more than 3 years, Mount Airy has been working hard to address the PFAS contamination. If we have not yet resolved one of our most significant public health challenges, why should expansion become our next priority? Every resident expects that when we dial 911, help will arrive quickly. Has the town demonstrated with independent evidence that our roads, infrastructure, and emergency services are prepared? If your spouse, your child, or your neighbor needed an ambulance during a busy tournament weekend, can this council assure that help will arrive just as quickly? Construction is temporary, maintenance is permanent. Developers move on, taxpayers do not. This proposal is a privately owned enterprise. The people of Mount Airy are being asked to assume public responsibilities for a private enterprise. It is not a public park. Access will primarily be available through participation and fees. Whether you live in Twin Ridge, Summit Ridge, Sterling Glen, or anywhere else in Mount Airy, every single one of us will be impacted. Our roads, emergency services, infrastructure, and potentially our tax dollars. If the public assumes the cost, who receives the benefits? Public investment should produce a meaningful public benefit. Throughout my career as a commissioned military officer, one leadership philosophy has guided every decision I have made: servant leadership. It begins with one question: what do our people need before we ask more of them? I respectfully ask this council to ask itself that same question tonight. When my children ask me 20 years from now why Mount Airy changed, what will we tell them? that we grew because we were ready or because we had the opportunity. Growth is not the enemy. Poorly prepared growth is. Please protect our foundation first, and the right opportunities shall follow. Please vote against this proposal. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Robert Everett, and I live at 903 Longbow Road. I come before you tonight as a concerned citizen of Mount Airy regarding the proposed Winfield annexation. Many of my concerns have already been echoed this evening. Tonight, I ask you, consider, why does Elite Baseball want this property annexed? The reality is Elite Baseball is pursuing annexation because they need something from us. They need the town's water, sewer infrastructure, and other municipal services. They could have simply purchased this land through the county and moved on. Instead, they've invested significant time, money, legal representation, and countless hours pursuing annexation because they need something from us. Water, that's what they need. They need that to grow their fields. Without that, this becomes a gamble for them. So I ask you, as elected officials, your responsibility is not simply to approve projects because you can or because it sounds appealing. Your responsibility is to determine whether they should happen and if they truly serve the long-term interests and community of the elected to represent. I respectfully ask you to vote against this annexation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Matt Cregan, I live at 612 Arrowwood Circle. Good evening, council members. My name is Matt Cregan, and I live on the corner of Waltersville Road and Arrowwood Circle, right across the street from the proposed site. I am here to respectfully oppose the annexation and development of this sports complex at this location. My concern is not with youth sports or recreation. My concern is that this project is simply too large for this area. As a resident who uses Waltersville Road every day, I already see the challenges with traffic and congestion along this corridor and at the Maryland 27 intersection. Adding a large commercial sports complex with hundreds of parking spaces, tournaments, evening activities, and field lighting will permanently change the character of this community and directly impact the quality of life of nearby residents. Once this land is annexed and developed, there is no going back. I ask the council to carefully consider the long-term impact on the residents who already live here and reject this annexation request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And like always, I'll lower the microphone. Okay. Good evening, Amanda Everett, 903 Longbow Road. So I'm here to reiterate my concern and really request this council to think hard and listen to your constituents. I echo so much of everything that's been said, not just tonight, but over, gosh, probably almost a year. And I think it's truly a testament to how much we do love and care about our town and value its small town charm. I know I've said that before, but the fact that we keep coming out to reiterate it, I think it's really incredible. I'm going to venture to guess that many of you had problems parking. Okay, if we can't have one evening of civic duty and find parking space on Main Street and some of the boundary parking lots, I don't know how we're going to expect baseball teams and their families and spectators to be able to utilize these restaurants. We do not have the infrastructure. A complex of this nature does not belong next to residential homes. We are over and over expressing concern, and the numerous groups whose role it is to review it. We've got our town planning commission, the county, the state. There's so many consistent concerns: traffic, infrastructure, safety, frankly, the quality of life and what folks' expectations are when they moved here. That is a consistent message. Unfortunately, the response from Elite Baseball is actually frustration at us voicing our concern and disagreement with their proposal. Not offering solutions, it's actually that we're misinterpreting data, or that we're biased, or that this process is arduous and being drawn out publicly, going against what the town planning commission has. And I think that's telling. It's a concern. If the response to them not being annexed is, okay, we're going to take away all the amenities that we've proposed to you, how much can we really value what those amenities are going to be like? Is there anything that's going to prevent Elite from taking those away from us if it is annexed? The walking trails, the fields for Maya, the playgrounds, all these things that are touted as a carrot for us. I hope that those will be in writing if we do move forward with the annexation. Because the moment we push back, the response is, we're going to do it anyway, and we're going to take away all those amenities for you. That is not partnership. That is not someone who can listen to a dissenting opinion. It's not a relationship that seems to make sense. And I would echo others when they ask, what are we really trying to solve? We know we need sports fields, but do they really belong next to homes? Do they really belong on a one-lane each-way road? I think you're hearing unequivocally they won't. I know this is Elite's dream. They've echoed that, and everyone has their dream, but that's not more important than mine or my family's or anyone else in this room or anyone else in the town whose dream likely is part of living in Mount Airy. We all chose to be here. So I ask you, council members, council president, I ask you to listen to the unwavering request of your community and to deny this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marshall Payne Gassaway. I reside at 2007 Kings Forest Trail, Mount Airy, Maryland. I'm a proud resident of Mount Airy, and I've actually been that for more than 20-plus years. I also welcome and thank you all for hearing us out. I come before you yet again to share my deepest concerns for the development of Elite Baseball's facility on the street where I reside, and many of my neighbors also travel every day, and the things that we have come to love here, the great place of Mount Airy. I appreciate you all coming forward and sharing your concerns and expressing how you are very passionate about your facility. However, I also come forward to share that in prior meetings, we have been told by legal counsel representing Elite Baseball that the town residents and the council would hear lies later on and from those who spoke. We've also been misrepresented in many times, and we've also been told that we don't understand. We've also heard how data-provided surveys conducted by the town were invalid, and how, well, as one particular survey household put it, it was only representing the residents of Nottingham. That is incorrect. We have done multiple surveys in the town of Mount Airy, and we will not be torn apart just by Elite Baseball. As we have heard by my neighbors, many have shared how Mount Airy is important, and we understand the importance of sports. We have also been told how it's important for children. Many of the outsiders that Elite Baseball have brought in have shared how sports are important. These are individuals who do not reside in the town of Mount Airy, who have all elected all of you all to be here on our behalves. Elite Baseball has also shared how this will in fact help grow the economy. As a matter of fact, they did have a representative from the local businesses to also share how not only would this help the economy, but it's important for the housing, I believe, which is one of the pieces that was instated in one of your initial presentations. We don't have housing for our visitors in Mount Airy. We lack the infrastructure. We lack a number of things here, but what we don't lack is the passion from residents. We want to be here to, in fact, help local businesses, but we've also heard a couple of things that in terms have continued to shift. In the most recent meeting that Elite Baseball came forward to, they had shared how they were going to deed certain property to Maya. Things continue to shift for the Elite Baseball representatives, but one thing remains the same. The residents in Mount Airy have continually shown up and voiced our displeasure for an entity that is inharmonious with our town. Elite Baseball has misrepresented the scope of the proposed facility as it changes from one meeting to the next. Elite Baseball has also misrepresented the adverse impact of the facility on Mount Airy, its residents, and its resources. And I would also cite the mayor's January 16, 2006, where we were actually told about the PFAs. So thank you, Mayor, for those PFAs, because those will only increase with Elite Baseball, despite them telling us that it will not. Elite Baseball has belittled the hardworking efforts of those who proudly serve Mount Airy and its residents. We appreciate all that the commission has done, and we value everything that you continue to do for us, but we will not be belittled by Elite Baseball. Elite Baseball has questioned our intelligence as residents by bringing non-residents to tell us the value of sports in the lives of our children and our community. Many of us already have children, so we are fully aware of the value. Elite Baseball has disregarded the data that has been conducted by Mount Airy and representing not only those in Mount Airy, but also those in Nottingham. And lastly, Elite Baseball has neglected to hear our concerns as a town and neither has addressed those or brought fruitful evidence to show us how they will address it. We have a multiple of reasons for why Elite Baseball isn't harmonious with our town. However, we will often have to think about all the work that has gone into this leading up to this point. And for those of you who have not seen all of the transcripts from the previous meetings, please take a chance to go take a look at that because the residents have spoken and we have spoken loudly. Lastly, I want to show one quick snapshot because I want to kind of circle us back to this. We have talked about traffic, our concerns. We currently have the players that play football and baseball in Maya. If you can actually show that. You can see, if you take a look off of Twin Arch, you can see the traffic, and they have fewer fields than what Elite Baseball is proposing. Their infrastructure, they have multiple lanes. We don't have that on Mount Airy. We don't have that on Watersville, and we can't sustain that type of traffic, not in our town, not on our streets. Thank you.
How many more people still wish to speak? Can you please raise your hand, please?
Couple.
Two for this. All right.
Okay. Hello, council members. My name's John Walsh. I live at 2504 Kings Forest Trail, along with a bunch of other neighbors here. I have a little different experience. I helped design 5 of the rec facilities in Montgomery County, and we had to do the traffic studies, the impacts, what's available for housing, for food, et cetera. The other thing that I haven't seen here, having been a professional coach most of my life, I don't see any programming. What are you going to do with the fields? Who's going to play when? How are you going to teach a kid to hit? How are you going to teach a kid to throw? Where's the progression? Where are you really going to develop baseball players if you don't have a plan in mind? All the facilities I've had to help design, we had to come up with that whole program and plan. And we're talking about facilities in Montgomery County. Each of them runs about 5,000 citizens a year. And it was well planned, it was well done. The Germantown Soccerplex is an example. It's well planned, it's well done. They have hotels, they have food services, and they have roads that can accommodate. They have a parking lot at every single field. So anyway, as a member of the community, I'm opposed because I haven't seen enough information to prove that it's a benefit to our community and to our kids that do play baseball. I also haven't seen a full business development plan on showing me how it's going to help myself, my 88-year-old mom, and all the young youth in the community that are being driven out by property taxes. So anyway, those two things I would never support without having the business development plan and proof of concept, as well as a whole programming plan, how you're going to run the facility well and accurately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amy Gray, 1309 Quarterstaff Trail. I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time tonight. The only thing that I would like to say is this past weekend, my children were out front playing in the front yard, biking, jumping rope, and they were joined by several other of the neighbor kids. I just want to leave you all with the question of how much more difficult will this be if there's a huge increase in traffic in Nottingham, which will happen if the annexation is pushed through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Oops. My name's Lynn Brown. I live at 1701 Kings Forest Trail. We've been residents of Nottingham for over 20 years. My family goes back to my great-grandmother had a house in Mount Airy years ago, and I spent my young years coming here a lot, which is why we ended up moving here later when we were adults. I just want to say, I won't belittle all the little points and whatever, but I'm totally against this. The traffic is horrendous. It's not the proper place for a sports facility, and I would suggest and recommend that you not annex this parcel into the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? All right, I want to thank everyone for speaking and being mindful of the time. I truly appreciate it. We will move on now to our approval of council meeting minutes and closed minutes. First up, we have our July 2026 Town Council meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Carl's not here, so Carl's not here. Somebody's got to speak up. All right, we got a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the July 13 Town Council meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next up, we have our July 2026 closed meeting minutes. For the subject of land acquisition, I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the July 2026 closed meeting minutes under land acquisition, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. And I know I saw him in the audience for the first time in a while. Hall of Famer Matt Hurd, if you would, come on up for the fire company report. How are you, bud?
I'm good, sir. Good evening, everyone. Town council, mayor, I'm gonna miss you. I'll see you around town. Anyways, last month, 225 calls for service, 168 in Carroll, 44 in Frederick, 10 in Howard, and 3 in Montgomery. 174 ambulance calls out of that, so that was a big chunk. But I want to echo the support of the Mount Airy Firemen's Carnival this past couple weeks ago. We had a great turnout. I want to thank the residents of the town of Mount Airy, council members, the mayor for their support. We had a great week, so we appreciate everybody's attendance for coming up here for the, and we couldn't do it without the volunteers. I mean, like anything, any commissions, the fire company couldn't do what we did without the support of the community coming out, running the stands, you know, the booths, the game stands. So we do appreciate everybody's support in the fire company. So thank you.
Had a good week weather-wise, too.
It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't see you there.
I was there. I haven't seen you here in a couple months. All right, thank you, sir. Next up, we've got our Mount Airy Police Department report with Chief Ginevra.
Good evening, everybody, Mayor and Town Council members. Calls for service, 790 calls for service for the month of July versus 2025 calls for service, 560. That's a 41% increase. And again, just make sure everyone's aware, that's call for service and self-initiated calls for service. For overdoses, glad to say, again, the town has no overdoses to report, and that's on the Carroll or Frederick side of Mount Airy. For recruitment, we still have one applicant that's for a lateral police officer position. They're about 90% done with the recruitment section. Today, with me this evening, I do have, even though he's not being sworn in, I do have a gentleman seated in the front. This is going to be our new, thank you, our new deputy chief, Mr. Walt Naylor. Walt Naylor comes from Baltimore City Police Department as a retired lieutenant. He retired the end of the month for July, so I'd like to welcome him here. He'll be starting officially next week, August 10th. So congratulations, Mr. Naylor, and welcome aboard. For citations, we have 150 citations. For safety repair orders, we have 35. For warnings, 373. We have two DWI arrests, 18 criminal arrests, and 18 traffic arrests. The next part that I'm going to talk about is 2 noteworthy arrests. I know I see a lot of comments on social media regarding that officers sit around Chick-fil-A, Ridgeside Drive, and do absolutely nothing. That is false information. I don't know where it comes from, other than thinking that these officers or sitting there doing absolutely nothing. These two things here, folks, I'm going to draw your attention to. And this isn't just an isolated thing. So again, Ridgeside Drive in this town after 10 p.m., things shut down. You have Interstate 70. It draws in a lot of people. You have a gas station that is open. You have food. And not only that, people getting cigarettes. So it draws a lot of people in here coming off of 70 from Baltimore or the Hagerstown area. On July 8th, 2026 at 01:30 hours, traffic enforcement was being conducted, again, along Ridgeside Drive. With that, Officer Wright observed a traffic violation, and this further investigation revealed a loaded Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun with additional loaded magazines. Also, suspected crack cocaine, approximately 3.7 grams, was also recovered. The driver was arrested and charged accordingly, and all of our property was submitted. There again, folks, that's one example of things that are coming into this town. So having those comments out there again about Ridgeside Drive, Chick-fil-A, the officers doing nothing, they are out there. They are trying to keep these things out of this wonderful town that you all just recently spoke about. Bringing your attention now to July 10th, 2026. At 1:29 p.m. So I just went from late at night to now early in the afternoon. Traffic enforcement again being conducted along Ridgeside Drive by Officer Wright. A traffic violation was observed. A roadside interview and investigation led to requesting our MAPD K-9 Officer DeAngelis and his partner Airy. K-9 Airy alerted on the vehicle, which then investigation revealed a large white rock substance of suspected cocaine, approximately 20 grams, and $24,000 in various denominations and 2 digital scales. The driver was arrested and charged accordingly, and all of that property was submitted to be tested. Again, Ridgeside Drive. Folks, this stuff is coming into this town. These officers are here doing what they need to do. And they are going to continuously do it. And I know the comments are going to continuously coming in. But please, again, let's be aware. Let's wake up. These things are happening, and we're trying to keep it out of this town. Thank you.
Well, if I may, first of all, welcome, Walt. You're going to love Mount Airy, and it's a small town charm that our chief just destroyed. Really kidding. We are so fortunate in this town, to have a great quality of life. But the truth of the matter is, I think Councilmember Demoter, you did a ride along with them one time. These guys provide great community service for us. But when they're called into action, they're dealing with some pretty heavy stuff in our town. And a lot of it has to do with Interstate 70 and what comes off of there. When I come back from my trips and drive back into Mount Airy and I see the police officer sitting over in Chick-fil-A or something between 1 and 2 a.m., I mean, I know why they're there, and I go by and say hi to them, but I know they're on duty, and they tell me what they've been dealing with at night. And frankly, I'd rather be up in the air than be sitting there in that Chick-fil-A parking lot. So you guys do a great job, so I appreciate it all. And thanks for everything this month. You've covered 2 carnivals out there every night. You guys and your families do a lot for us, so thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for bringing that up, Mayor, because I was going to highlight, it was during my first term, and I asked to do a police ride-along, so I did I think it was like a 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift. And it is true, we have a wonderful town, small town charm, but that doesn't mean that we don't experience other problems that other towns have. I mean, we're a town of almost 10,000 people, so I just wanted to say, on that very section of Ridgeside Drive, I'd say it was about 10:30, and the police officer I was with saw something, a suspected vehicle. We followed them into a restaurant in that area, and I got to witness firsthand, up close and personal, a drug arrest. And so I saw the whole thing go down. It was quite an education. And then another comment that we gave the officers, I think, some extra funding to do some extra overtime patrolling on Main Street. And I know as a result of that extra patrol time, they made some drug arrests as well. So I saw it, it's out there, and our officers do a great job, so I wanted to thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chief,
Yes, sir, thank you.
and welcome. All right, next up, we have our mayor, council, and staff reports. We'll start off with our mayor, Mayor Hushhour.
Thank you. Highlight on my schedule this month was, I was shocked when I went out to the ribbon cutting at McAllister's Deli. I mean, that sidewalk was absolutely packed with everybody. So we welcome them to our town. It's a great deli, got a great menu, and stop by and give it a look. And we have some other businesses coming into town that you get to cover with the ribbon cutting in different shopping centers in town. And so it's a pleasure to be bringing them in, and I'm sure most people have read about Conchetta's closing, and that's unfortunate. Hate to see them go, but he had a really good run in town, provided some great food for us, so greatly appreciate that. I won't steal all of Councilmember Demoter's thunder on the 250-year notes, but we do have the Celebrate Mount Airy event, which will be on August 29th, and that's when we're going to stick that time capsule in the ground. That'll be in the ground for 50 years. Right next to the train station, we've started clearing out the area. We're going to dig it out, put a big vault down there to put our little time capsule in, but we're also going to put a couple ice chests in there, and I think Ashley's going to put a skeleton in there, which should be really funny in 50 years. So when they open that thing up. So, but it's going to be a big event. We got a lot of dignitaries coming, so please take advantage of Celebrate Mount Airy. Again, it's the evening of August 29th. Couple other highlights on the Flatiron update. We actually did get some more money for the Flatiron. We had a legislative bond initiative that came in for $50,000 that will go toward the Flatiron building. As well, we put in for a housing and urban development. It's actually a $1.7 million request. It is pending. It's federal, so it's got to go through the government process, but we're stacking up the money to get that Flatiron renovated, so it's coming along. Since the last meeting, we demolished all the interior, brought everything down to the bare walls, so that we could work with it as a clean slate. Recently, July 31st, that was the 1-year anniversary, if you want to call it that, of the tragedy where Mason Kearns passed away in a storm drain. We've been working on remediating all those issues in town, and we got 26 out of 27 loose grates have been repaired at this point, and we have 18 we call them trash grates, that would prevent somebody from getting sucked into a drain. They're under construction right now. I had a little bit of a setback, but as soon as they come in, we're going to be installing those and take care of that. As a reminder, we got 5 inches of rain in under 3 hours, and that was one heck of a storm on July 31st of 2025, one for the memory books there. I won't be in office at this time, but I'll put it out there because we won't have a meeting before then, but September 11th. This will mark the 25th anniversary of that day that changed the world, and Mount Airy will always remember 9/11. I hope in 50 years they're still doing a ceremony for it, and we'll always remember that tragic day where the town lost 2 individuals, Chief Warrant Officer Bill Ruth and Lieutenant Commander Ronald Vaught. So we will remember them on 9/11. We always have a ceremony out at Pine Grove, so just stay tuned to when that officially occurs. This is my final mayor's report, so it's been an honor, and we'll throw this in the time capsule. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, we have the Water and Sewer Commission, the Beautification Commission, and the Inclement Weather Task Force, and the 250th Semi-Quincentennial Committee with Councilmember Demoter.
Okay, thank you. Beautification Commission did not meet in July, and our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 18th. The Water and Sewer Commission last met in June, and our next meeting will be this Wednesday, August 5th. And two topics that are on the agenda. One is to look at kind of the process of water allocation approved versus usage issues. So the commission wants to look at how the town calculates water allocation to development and redevelopment projects, and then to discuss how to address significant differences between approved water allocation and actual usage. We're also going to look at PFAS and other capital projects. They have an interest in exploring what system the town might be using to track PFAS remediation progress and other capital projects, and if periodic status reports on PFAS remediation progress and target dates for each water station upgrade should be widely distributed. Currently, the only recurring report on this is from the mayor's monthly report at our council meetings. And then lastly, I do want to highlight there is a vacancy on the Water and Sewer Commission. And so if you are interested in serving, you can contact the mayor, you can contact Mr. Dick Swanson, who's the chairman of the Water and Sewer Commission. It's an important topic for the town. We have a lot of good volunteers working on it. So that opportunity is available. Inclement Weather Task Force, we last met on July 23rd. Where we work to talk through the finalization of our approach and our process for two urgent needs. First, we are very near a final determination in selecting a weather alert siren system for the town, and then to be able to make a recommendation to the council for the purchase of that system. And then secondly, we're nailing down the process for how we can receive donations from local businesses through a tax-exempt processes, and the establishment of a non-for-profit fund for tax-exempt donations. So you heard from Mr. Marks earlier during the public comment period. There is a fund set up called the Community Foundation of Carroll County, a 501c3 tax-exempt fund where if businesses or citizens want to make donations, we have that mechanism to do so. The town is also actively pursuing a number of grants, to include the Frederick Community Foundation, the France Merrick Foundation, United Way of Frederick County, to name a few. And I just wanted to bring that up because I want to make sure for my fellow council members and for the citizens, we made a commitment when we passed the resolution on pursuing the weather alert siren systems that we would try and pursue a 50% funding match through grants and private donations. So I want everybody to know we are making a very earnest effort to do that, and that's why I wanted to share this nonprofit fund that's available and the outreach for the community grants. So we are pursuing that so that when we come to you in September with a recommendation on a system to purchase, hopefully you'll be supportive of that request. I wanted to piggyback on what the mayor said. I saw an article in the Carroll County Times on July 28th, just to hit home what we're trying to do here. And there was a National Weather Service issued tornado watch for 19 Maryland counties, including Carroll County. And part of that is because of the topography of where we live here in Mount Airy. We're very prone to tornadoes and things like that. They also issued a flood watch for our area. So that's just an example of why we want to pursue these weather alert siren systems. It's a safety issue for the town. And then lastly, the America 250 Task Force. The mayor talked about the time capsule opportunity. And again, you are encouraged, if you want to submit something, you can submit photos and messages that capture what Mount Airy looks like and feels like today. It'll get put in the time capsule, and you'll be part of that history when they open up the vault and see what we were doing in 2026. You can go to the town's website and click on the America 250 icon, and there are instructions there for how you can enter some things to put into the time capsule. So that completes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have the Planning Commission with Councilmember Kelly.
Thank you, Council President. The Planning Commission met on July 27th. At that meeting, there were a few discussions. First was proceeding with recommendations for changes to the town's signage code. During that discussion, I recommended a joint meeting or workshop with the EDC, the Economic Development Commission, to discuss recommended commercial signage changes. There's also discussion regarding a path forward with amending the existing downtown design guidelines, which is a goal in the current master plan. Also, there was much discussion on compliance with the newly adopted ordinance 2026-2 related to rezonings, specifically comprehensive rezonings for inclusion in the master plan. Coming to the conclusion that once the Planning Commission is ready to discuss specific properties as part of comprehensive rezoning for inclusion in the master plan, that will trigger the staff's analyses for those properties. The discussion on executing current master plan goals led to a discussion on looking ahead to preparing the next master plan, which will likely begin in 2031. We also discussed the desire for the town's commissions, or at least representatives from each commission, to convene together at least once a year, preferably twice a year. The Planning Commission will meet next on August 31st at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Munder, as noted, is not here, so we'll move on to our EDC and Recycling and Sanitation with Council Secretary Evans.
Thank you, Council President. Sanitation and recycling did not meet. Our next meeting will be on September 16th here at Town Hall. There's a lot of stuff going on September 16th, apparently. For the Economic Development Commission, we met this past Wednesday. A couple highlights. Celebrate Mount Airy is on August 29th. Oktoberfest is on October 3rd. We have the Mount Airy Mile this Saturday morning. We have the Business Roundtable on Wednesday, September 16th, from 4:30 to 6:30. And I wanted to bring light to an anniversary that we have coming up. Mount Airy Lanes, as of September 1st, will become a business for the town of Mount Airy for 50 years. That's a huge accomplishment for them with everything that they've been through. With your blessing, Mayor, I'm going to have her do a little write-up so we can get it out on the website and kind of recognize that, because that's a pretty big deal. So if you don't know where it is, it's on Center Street. Run down there and play some duck pin bowling, grab some beers, and eat some pizza. Our next meeting for EDC is on August 26th here at Town Hall, and that does it for my report this month.
Thank you. Next up, we have Board of Recreation and Parks and the Sustainability Commission. Sustainability Commission did not meet, and due to a previously planned event, I was not able to meet during our Board and Rec and Parks. So I will have a report next month for the previous 2 months, and now we'll move on to our Town Attorney report with Mr. Tom McCarron.
I attended the Planning Commission meeting that occurred at the end of July, mostly for its discussion about implementation of Ordinance 2026-2 regarding rezonings. I also attended the Board of Appeals hearing a couple of weeks ago where they approved a small home occupation daycare special exception. And that is my report.
All right, thank you. We all have copies of the Town Administrator Report, Code Enforcement Report, and the Zoning Administrator Report. Anything to add, guys?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. We're on the new business. First up, we're going to revisit the PWA full bond release for the Shiny Shell Car Wash, S-22-0015. This is for approval. We did all receive some pretty good updates from Barney regarding their water use, and seeing that, I would go ahead and make a motion to approve the bond release. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we're into discussion. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a couple comments. So I appreciate the extra information. I think this is going to pass, and I understand legally We need to comply with what was in the bond, I guess, requirements, and as long as they demonstrated compliance with those requirements, it would be appropriate to pass the bond release. I'm going to vote no on it, just to put a marker down that I think we need to make some improvements in our process. And just want to highlight a couple quick things. So I'm looking at there was a write-up that came in our package, and there's a table that has the water use history. And my understanding is, Shiny Shell requested 7,350 gallons per day. That's what they requested, and that's what they were granted. And so when you look at this water usage history, and I'll start at the bottom. If you look at, starting in the table at September 16th, 2024, and then going up, I just want to highlight, look at their daily usage. The daily usage in September, they were 86% over their allocation. Next month, 56% over. March 2025, 80%, 85% over. June 2025, 123% over. September, 118% over. December 2025, 61% over. March 2026, 75% over. June 15, 2026, 47% over. So, and I mentioned this about the Water and Sewer Commission, and it's on their agenda. I know this isn't going to happen for every other allocation, but I think we need to pursue some guidance. Maybe it ends up in the town code that says, okay, here's the process. A business is given a water allocation, and then the town monitors the implementation of that allocation over a period of months to whatever. And if they're exceeding X percent of their allocation, maybe it's 25%, I don't know what the right number would be, then the town can take appropriate steps. They can ask for water conservation, they can ask for a number of measures to tell that business, you know, you're way over the allocation that you asked for and that we granted you. So that is my point. I think we need a process. I understand that the town just recently gave them more what's called commercial units. And you made the argument in this paper that says, well, you know, the last 3 reporting periods, they're only 2.3% over what we've kind of rebalanced them at. But that's because you've rebalanced them. They're still 60, 70, 100% over the allocation we originally gave them. So there's something that's not right there. And I think we need to put a process in place so that if this happens again, we have, via code, steps that we can take to ensure compliance and enforcement and that kind of thing. So thank you for the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I agree. We didn't release this bond just so we can get these numbers and we can see kind of where we were at. I mean, the bond, the money was being held for, sediment erosion control, which is, it's been completed, it's done, so we can't withhold the funds for something different that, that they weren't expected to kind of handle. But I do see that they did have to pay an additional $106,800 to get their allocation up. But again, when you are thinking about businesses coming in, you got to have at least a semi-accurate, what is their water usage actually going to be in order to protect an asset that's been dwindling in this town for a long time. So I don't disagree. While we can't withhold these funds based on this reason, I think it did give us a good starting point for a conversation to make sure that, we can be a little bit more mindful of what it's going to cost us when it comes to, our water and any APFO thing that we're looking at with new businesses coming in. So thank you for that, Steve. Any further comments, questions? All right, at this time, we do have a motion to approve the bond release for the sediment and land control, which has been completed to satisfaction. So all in favor of approving the bond release full bond release for the Shiny Shell Car Wash, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. Mayor Hushhour, we did have a cross-out on recommendation for procurement and installation of the storm siren. That was on here for approval, but I believe we're pushing it to next month. Did you want to explain?
Yes, the procurement and installation of the storm siren system, we kind of covered it already, but I'll emphasize it again. We had it on the agenda, we were hoping that all the stars would align and we'd be able to discuss it tonight and possibly give it a vote, but I guess you would call it an abundance of wanting to have some sort of a process that has a lot of stake owners, holders in the game. We wanted to bring it back to the inclement weather task force one more time, let them look through the couple of companies that could do this for us and let them weigh in on that. So this will come to the council in September for a vote. We talked a lot about fundraising, collecting funds to go toward this siren. What our intention is to go ahead and vote and get the ball rolling on this. The money would, whatever money that we would need in addition to what we've already gained, which is about $15,000, would come out of the reserves. But the fundraising effort would continue through the Community Foundation in Carroll County, the 501c3, and whatever money we collect after, if this passes, would be put into the general fund, and it would be annotated on the budget that that money came in specifically for the storm sirens. So this will come up for a vote in September, and hopefully it'll happen. I'm in full support of it. So, thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, we have our commission appointments and reappointments with Mayor Hushhour.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we are good, too. We will have one next month, though. Now we are to ordinances and resolutions. The only thing we have is annexation resolution 2025-47. It is 59.98 acres, more or less, of land located along the north side of Watersville Road. This is for adoption. I'll open up the table for a motion.
I will make a motion. I will make a motion to disapprove annexation resolution 2025-47 for 59.98 acres of land located along the north side of Watersville Road.
Okay, I can second to get us to discussion. So right now, we have a motion to disapprove the adoption of annexation resolution 2025-47. We are now in discussion. I will open up floor for discussion.
I have some comments.
Sure.
So I'm going to hit the high points of my thoughts. I put together, and I've done this before, I put together what I call a policy opinion memorandum. And I'm going to give a copy of this to the town clerk and ask that it be made part of the formal record so you can see the full scope of my comments and thought process. And I'll provide it to the council members, and I'll have copies for any citizen who wants to see it. First, I want you to know that as part of my process in evaluating this, I attended every planning commission meeting, listening to the deliberations and comments from the planning commission members, the petitioners, and the public to ensure that I had firsthand information. I wanted to hear everything for myself firsthand so I can be best prepared to make a decision. I consulted the town code for relevant requirements, and I referenced the vision, land use plans, and strategies contained in our town's comprehensive master plan. And then I was also guided by the commitments I made to you, the citizens, when I ran for town council last year. And that was to listen to all voices and opinions, to keep you and your family safe, to protect your quality of life and your investment in the town. So I'm going to hit the high points, and when I get close to 1 minute left, I'm sure the council president will let me know. So first of all, citizen concerns. I heard a glaring lack of support for annexation by those residing within the town. I assessed that there were overwhelming citizen concerns in 5 key areas: negative impacts on nearby homeowners, property values, and the harmony of surrounding communities. inability of the town's infrastructure to support the annexation and its stated principal use. The character of Mount Airy will be at risk, broad negative impacts on quality of life, and that the proposed single principal use, being a private sports complex, not being the right fit for the property location. Secondly, I want to point out that I looked at the Carroll County Planning and Zoning Commission concerns communicated by the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, and they noted in their June 16th review, they expressed concerns about the differences between the low-density residential land use designation and the proposed use, which is the athletic complex, as well as the proposed use's potential to create light pollution and impact local traffic conditions and water quality. These concerns very much align with the concerns that you, the citizens, have raised to us. I also think that the proposed single use for the annexation does not fully align with the flavor of R1 zoning. If you look at the purpose statement of what R1 zoning is in the code, it speaks to provide low-density development, concentration on good land management, harmony with the physical environment, variety of housing options, intended to encourage conservation of open land and assure continuing beauty and agricultural potential of areas at the periphery of the community. And I don't have time to get into all the details, but basically, certainly there's a multiple set of uses and accepted uses that can be pursued under R1, but the sole principal use of a sports complex on 60 acres adjacent to a 400-plus single-family home development, to me, contributes to the disharmony of this proposed annexation. I also found that it doesn't fully achieve the vision for future annexation areas as stated in the Comprehensive Master Plan. The CMP says, on page 88, it says, it's interesting, it says, the list of proposed future annexation areas has changed from the previous master plan. The vision for many of these county areas is to allow low-density residential growth, create rural buffering, and add to our town's open space. So if you just consider those three elements as criteria, if you will, to think about an annexation decision, I don't see how it fully achieves those three criteria. We have an open space deficit of 75 acres, and this proposal does not contribute substantially to remedying that deficit. Go on here. It's another interesting thing in the master plan. So another point is that a private for-profit sports complex would limit public access to recreation and is misaligned with the town's character and civic pride. And our master plan states on page 127, under plans for future park facilities, quote, parks and recreational facilities are important to the perception of the town's character. Attractive and accessible facilities encourage use and are symbols of civic pride. Town parks should be visible, inviting, and accessible from public roads. And the point here is, you think about why Mount Airy is such a special place. And one of it is we have this shared set of town life experiences that are evocative. They evoke thoughts and feelings. And, we've all gone to our public parks and festivals and things that are public parks. And they're public. You can come and go as you please. They're part of our community. And a for-profit sports complex does not align with public parks and what Mount Airy is really all about in terms of our character. And then the last point deals with, I'll call it first do no harm. It's the issue of public health and safety concerns with PFAS contamination in our water and our water supply. And many other municipalities are taking these same steps. I believe that any future growth or development, annexation of property and subsequent development of it, it should not be pursued until the totality of PFAS threats and impacts can be realized and addressed. We have an EPA standard of 4 parts per trillion of PFAS. That's the maximum contaminant level. We have a maximum contaminant goal by the EPA of 0, which means there's no safe level of exposure to PFAS. We've got PFAS detected in every well since its first monitoring in 2023. And so my first responsibility as an elected official is to provide for the safety of my citizens. And so I do not believe we should be annexing any property, developing any property, until we fully remediate the PFAS in our water within this town. And then the last comment is, if you look at the comprehensive master plan on page Roman numeral 3, there's a commitment to grow wisely. I'm not going to read the whole commitment, but the last statement says, "We will always solicit and listen to our residents on all matters of growth and development. The resident is our most important stakeholder in our future." So my thought process in arriving at where I'm at on this annexation is fully aligned with the master plan and the commitment to grow wisely that we all signed up to. So thank you for that time, and that's my thought. Thank you.
I know you did your homework, so I wasn't going to rush you. Councilmember Kelly?
Yep. Thank you, Council President. So I do want to thank the Planning Commission for their work on this. A lot of hours, a lot of thought went into their final recommendation proposal. I want to thank the citizens for your engagement, both here and over email, and it's really invaluable, so thank you. I also want to thank the petitioners for their willingness to share details and be an open book. No one can deny that's what's happened here. I can tell you, as someone who's participated out there in the gallery, it was refreshing how much of an open book and the details that they gave. I guess I have a couple things to get off my chest through this whole process. You know, no pun intended, those who know me know that I say this phrase often. I try to call balls and strikes. That's what I do in life. That's especially what I try to do up here. There's no site plan at this stage. There's no plan with 1,100 parking spaces. I'm told, I was sent screenshots today of some comments on Facebook where that was all being propagated. So when those comments come from the petitioner saying that there's false information out there, that's a prime example. So I'd ask you to stop propagating that false information. You know, the petitioners did, as I said in previous statements, the petitioners did give us a visual illustration of their vision. They're not engineers, they're not site planners. They decided to really be an open book and show us some of the thoughtfulness of their design and their vision, and that's the way I took it. That was the spirit of it. Also, you know, some of the comments of, well, it's a private business and we don't know how they're going to run it. That's not our job. This is a free market. Well, it's not going to benefit the businesses. That's not our job either. No one in this room can say it's not going to benefit our businesses at all, and no one in this room can say it'll be a boon for our businesses. After tonight's vote, whatever the outcome, there are still multiple paths forwards. Some of us have talked about it over email. As I said in the public hearing in June, I hear the engaged residents, and I understand. I want to lay out some possible paths that are before us. So if this vote goes the way that many of you want tonight, the petitioners can still be granted an exception through the county appeals board, and they can get their sports complex. I believe the odds of the county granting that exception are greater than a lot of you want to think. It's not 100%, it's not 0%, okay? From personal experience, if Carroll County is anything like Frederick County, and this does happen through the county, I'm just a word of caution, be ready to hear it's within the code a lot from the county when you ask them questions, okay? Having said all that, the decision for me comes down to probably the most simple sentiment I've heard from a few of you. And that's the sentiment of interesting, thoughtful plan. I applaud the petitioner's passion and vision. But this just isn't the right location for something of this scale. Lastly, I want to bring up that, if let's say that this really goes the way some of you want to, and the vote, it's a no vote tonight, and let's say the petitioners walk away. One of the first comments at a planning commission meeting, might have been the first comment was, and I heard it here tonight too, residential would be preferred and harmonious with what's already there. Fine. What's alarming to me is many have said, well, yeah, it's fine. We'll just get 6 or 7 estate homes. I heard 25 homes tonight. I'm sorry, that's a pipe dream. Fair warning, if that all happens and this comes back here for annexation with low density residential use, my opinion, barring anything unforeseen, your elected officials, it'd be akin to malpractice to not annex 59 acres of low residential harmonious with the surroundings. So there you could get 40 to 50 sets of new neighbors that leave the same time every morning and come back at the same time at night as you do.
Hey, guys,
right.
hey, hang on a minute.
That's right.
We've heard residents for months now. Please let us speak. Thank you.
So that is a possible path. That's I'm thank you for those who have engaged with me over in person and over email. And I thank you for listening. I just want to put those paths out there. And again, thank you for the sentiment from those of you. For me, it was the most simple sentiment. And I appreciate all of your views. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Durbin.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank everybody for engaging, speaking with Sean on this. We've been on the other side of the table for a couple different things, and so I know how it feels. Thank you to the petitioners for your insight and your vision. I love the idea. I love the vision. I still have some major concerns with traffic, water, and location, which is kind of pushing me in a different direction. As council members, we don't have the answers. It's not A and B. A lot of times we have to go outside and find resources that give us the education that we need to make the right decisions. Sometimes they're the right decisions, sometimes they're not. But we have to use the information that's given to us from residents, from peers, from town staff, county commissioners, whatever the case may be. We have to take all of that information, boggle it around in our brains, and try to come up with the best solution. One of my biggest sticking points here is I do have an obligation to the citizens of this town that did put me up here. So I do take that to heart greatly, along with my major concerns of the traffic, the water, and the location for 60 acres of a privately owned baseball complex. With that being said, again, thank you to everybody that presented, came out on their evenings and gave their thoughts. to help us make our best educated decision on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As usual, I go last. You know, it started out as what I thought would be a great thing. When I ran for council, and even when I was on the Parks and Rec Commission, I always pushed for a regional park, something, but what's always the pushback for a regional park? The upkeep, the town staff that it's gonna take to maintain it, and your tax dollars and my tax dollars going up probably 35%. That's the average when you add in a regional park that is paid for, you know, by the citizens. I don't think anybody here wants their taxes to go up 35%. So when they brought this idea, you know, it was, hey, we're going to publicly, you know, privately fund this. It's going to be 9 AstroTurf fields. It's going to be 2 multi-purpose fields, and we're going to give access, you know, to the community as much as we can. You know, it's okay, great. We don't have to pay for it. We don't have to maintain it. We don't have to, you know, really do much of anything. And we're going to get access for it. You know, I don't know if a lot of you know, but I am the athletic director at Maya. I'm also the football commissioner over there for the last 10 years. I've seen firsthand, even on the Parks and Rec, where coaches and volunteers are fighting over the fields that we have. In meetings, fighting, trying to represent, you know, whether it's Fort County, whether it's Maya, because there's just not enough. There's too many kids, not enough fields. And that's sad. I will say that it's calmed down a lot lately. They have been able to work together, which is a great thing, but it's still an issue that we have. You know, so a lot of these different things that are brought to our attention, for example, it's not for Mount Airy kids. Guys, I see firsthand how many travel kids live in Mount Airy, my son being one of them, for 3 different sports. We travel everywhere. Maya has more than 11 travel baseball and softball programs, teams that travel all over the East Coast. Linganore High School, Oakdale High School, South Carroll, they don't make it to state championships because these kids are playing rec sports. They make it to state championships because they're out and they are playing highly competitive sports and they're traveling and they're all over the place. You don't get the high school success that we have by playing rec. It's just a fact. So, you know, that being said, it's been a tough thing for me to think about. I also, as a business owner myself, I don't understand the fight about for-profit. I don't think there's anyone sitting in this room that gets up and goes to work for free. Everything we do is for-profit. And the American dream is to own a business and work for yourself. And in order to be able to do it, but also help kids get better at sports if they choose, if that's what they want to do, that's a great thing. So, you know, my experience, my son goes to different trainers for the sports that he goes to. We pay for it, and he gets, you know, a lot of benefit from it. All of that being said, it's always location, location, location. Anything in real estate is location, location, location. And when it comes down to it, that's the sticking point. I do not agree with the location, and I'm not willing to sell out as much as I love youth sports and basically have lived it for the last 15 years. And as much as I do think it would help kids in this community, plus surrounding communities, it's not the right spot. And that's hard for me because I've from day one, I've wanted more fields. That's all I've wanted. And I think that these guys are great. I really do. I think they've been respectful. I think that they've been transparent. And I think if they had the opportunity, they would do it right. I think if they picked a better piece of land, it would be done and it would be done well. But where it's sitting right now, even if it goes perfect, I don't see it going well. Even if weather is perfect at all times, there's no storms that come in and you cancel all the games at one time and everyone's trying to leave, that would be a nightmare. You know, I kind of came to that conclusion about a month and a half ago. We were down at Liberty Sports Park. My son had a lacrosse tournament. And Liberty Sports Park mirrors almost to the T what is trying to happen, you know, here. It abuts to a community that looks just like Nottingham. It is 11 fields. When I got there at 7:30 in the morning for an 11 o'clock game. Parking lot was already full. And when I drove through the abutting neighborhood, I saw vehicles blocking driveways. I saw them parked up in the yards. I saw them everywhere. I knocked on a few doors as we were leaving, and I said, "Is this a normal thing?" And they said, "Yeah, it's every weekend." And right then and there, I said, even if it's perfect, it's not going to be perfect. And the fact is, the people that do live in Nottingham, who we have heard for months, thankfully, I appreciate you guys coming out and advocating for yourselves, it would drastically change their lifestyle. And that's not something that I can live with. If it happened to me, I would be irate. You know, I look at some of the best sports parks and stuff like that. They are in and surrounded by community commercial, right? I look at a sports park of this magnitude almost as community commercial, not to be placed on land use designated as R1. And, you know, for me, it's a square peg in a round hole, and I absolutely hate it because I think it would be a great, great thing. But it's not something I can vote for, and I don't believe, even if done right, which I truly think they would do it right, that it would turn out well. And there's just too many unanswered questions, and the land use designation is way too far from what it is zoned to be. So those are my thoughts, Mayor.
You know, if you don't mind, I think I'll let you guys vote. Anything I'm going to say is not going to alter the outcome, I don't believe, but I would like a few minutes after the vote to talk about annexations.
Sure, last meeting, you can have whatever you want. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to roll call this vote the same way we did the Beck property, just to make sure that it's clear, concise, and on the record. I will start. So right now, we do have a motion to disapprove the adoption of Annexation Resolution 2025-47, 59.98 acres, more or less, of land located along the north side of Watersville Road. Councilmember Demoter, please signify by saying aye or nay.
I am an aye for disapproval.
All right, Council Secretary Evans?
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. So the adoption will not pass, and we will move on. Mayor?
Yes. I do want to thank the petitioners for coming forward and trying to present a plan and an opportunity for the community. That traffic situation is just one that's so hard to deal with. So I understand the council's vote, and I support all the reasoning that went behind it. I think you guys did your due diligence on this, and I think the community came out and spoke when they needed to, and I think the petitioners did a good job of trying to communicate what you're trying to do. You know, if Watersville was 4 lanes, it might make a difference, you know. Having said that, what I wanted to mention, it kind of piggybacks on what Councilmember Kelly was talking about. This town is so anti-annexation for just about anything. And what I want to communicate as I'm moving out of this seat, you know, I've been out there back around 2006 when the Zeltman annexation was going through, so I understand that part of it. I sat here as a council member while we were going through the Harrison-LaShire potential annexation, and now I sit here as a mayor going through this one, and I've been through Dorseytown as well, and the Wriggler property. So I've seen all these annexations come and get rejected. What's important for, and usually it ends up with somebody saying, we'll take low-density residential. I understand that appears to be better than something else, maybe this alternative. But I'll tell you, this council, the next mayor, will be sitting up here listening to people who don't want low-density residential either. People generally want to move here and then close the door behind them. But what I want to tell you, And I get that, but what I want to tell you is that we're not stopping the counties. Newmarket is about to blow up going this way and heading up 75. Damascus, anybody who's lived here for more than 10 years, as you drive south on 27, Damascus is about to jump to the north side, and they'll start building up this direction. My biggest fear is that we end up in a Sykesville-Eldersburg type of situation where all of a sudden Sykesville is sitting there in their little oasis, and you got a whole Eldersburg to the north side. I fear that Harrison-Lashire, maybe the Warfield property, maybe this property that they call parcel 22, I believe, on the north side, everything will start being built in the county. We are sitting right on I-70 and Highway 27 in the corner of the county, represented by one county commissioner. And there's 4 other county commissioners who don't want it in their backyard. So they're going to be looking at Mount Airy as time goes on. There's 250 acres up there in Harrison-Lashire. We almost had it annexed into town, and we should have done it, but they walked away from it right at the end. It's kind of like getting left at the altar. Had we brought it in pre-COVID, it would have come in as some sort of an industrial type of situation, and it would probably still be sitting there because COVID basically took all that out of play. But at least we would be controlling it. So my caution as I exit out of here is that when somebody does come up with something on the north side of town for low-density residential, even if it's R2, which is basically Nottingham, we need to take it. We need to be able to say yes to an annexation going north, because if we leave it to the county and if we leave it to developers, they will figure it out. And they will figure out how to grow, and they'll find the water, and they'll find the sewer, and the county will supply the police and the fire department and everything else that they need, just like they're about to do in Newmarket heading north on 75. Okay, that's Frederick County, but Carroll County eventually will figure this out. So we can sit here and we can be happy with everything, but at some point, we're going to have to say yes to an annexation to the north side of town. And if it's low-density residential, we need to grab onto it, especially with the open space requirements and everything we have in our town code. We're very well protected to do it. But when it comes up, please realize that you got to say yes to something. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, next up, we do not have unfinished business, so we're going to move into a closed session. Following that closed session, the August 3rd, 2026 Town Council meeting will come to a close. So we will roll call in a closed session. Councilmember Demoter.
Aye.
Council Secretary Evans.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. We'll see everybody next month. Thank you.